All right, everybody. First comic show of the year, but we're doing something different today. We're actually going to two shows. So first, we're going to go to a comic book show, and I'm outside right now. We're going to the Warren Elks comic book show. And again, right, you've seen me at the show before. It's kind of an every month, every other month type of show, 7 to 10 times a year. And after that, we're going to a card show, the Detroit card show out in, I believe, Waterford, Michigan. So it's going to be a little bit of a hike from here, maybe 40 minutes. But this is kind of a follow-up from the video I did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And where I talked about why are card shows so popular and so busy, why are there so many kids there. So I got some feedback from a lot of people saying, a lot of people agreed and opinions on why that is. But then there were some people that said, no, it's not true. Comic shows, there are kids everywhere. And I got some person saying that, their comic show, there is nothing but kids at their comic book show. And, I asked where that show is and when the next one is. I'd love to go and see it, because if that truly exists, we've got to see what that comic book show is doing right. But it's been crickets from that person. So that being said, I wanted to do another comparison on the same day and same type of show, just a local show with probably similar amounts of tables and vendors. And so first we're going to start out with the comic book show. I'm going to go in, maybe we'll spend an hour here. I don't know if I'm going to buy anything or not, or just talk to the vendors, hang out, say hi, Happy New Year to everyone. But maybe we'll buy some stuff. Then we'll do the same thing at the card show. So when we go in, I'm going to take raw video. You can just listen to, the ambiance of the setting and, the noise levels and the types of people that are there. And, is it all men? Are there women there? Are there kids there? So you'll get an idea for the demographics of a comic book show versus a card show, at least in the Metro Detroit area. Okay. And I wanted to do this just to kind of get some more data and try to understand, if we go to this card show and it is significantly busier than a comic book show, what are they doing differently? Why are more people there? Why are there going to be more kids there? Which is what I'm predicting, that we're going to hardly see any, super young people at the comic book show here. But I'm doing this because of my love for comics and comic book shows, and to try and understand, what has to happen for comic book shows to attract younger people and get them invested in comics, right? And interested in comics. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it has to do with the younger generation not liking reading, but we're going to get more into that after we go to these two shows, and then I'll do a wrap up afterwards and we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay. So excited to do the comparison today. Warren Elks comic show is first. So we're going to head in. Let's go. All right. You guys have seen this entrance before. Let's go see what the show is like. All right, guys, we are here. Someone. No, you're a tall man. All right, guys, we are here. We're gonna walk around, but we're about an hour into the show, so I'd say kind of peak time here. This is what it looks like. All right, let's go see some people. All right.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you how much I'm asking. If you would rather have money than you can sell. She's like, when I do. Every TV show you go. No, it's okay. It's just making it harder for guys to find stuff to get.
It's been a great day so far. Same to you, my friend.
Want that one?
Million of those.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a full collection.
Yeah, so he has like
So this one, for this red Sony, you buy the whole thing, right?
I bought a collection. The guy was just I think it yeah, I mean, some of them are up there, a lot of them are doing. Those are married, there's going to be another couple of scattered around. Like your first appearances up there with this stuff.
Oh, I see it.
All right, guys, so we're done with the comic show. We left. We were there about an hour and a half. Talked to a whole bunch of people, looked at some comics. I didn't do a whole bunch of video because I needed to drive 40 minutes out to Waterford to the Detroit card show, and we're here, and it's absolutely packed. This is bigger than I thought it was going to be. All right, much bigger venue as well. I thought it was going to be a little bit smaller, but it is packed. It is going on 2 o'clock, so kind of later in the day. I think they go to 4 or 5 o'clock like a majority of shows. But we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna walk in. I'll take some video of us going in and just what it looks like as you enter the venue. I gotta pay for my entrance fee first. And yeah, just do a quick video walking around, seeing what it looks like. You saw the comic show. Again, we'll talk about that more when I get back home and do the wrap up. But just pay attention to what this show looks like compared to the comic show. All right, let's go in. All right, we're in. All right, guys, this is actually huge. I had no idea it was going to be this big. It's bigger than the last card show I went to. It's absolutely massive. I got to find out how often they do this, so I'll do some research on it before I do the wrap up at home later on. But, all right, we're going to walk around, but you can see the difference. All right. Pay attention to the video and the age of the attendees and the demographics, and we're going to talk to a bunch of people here. Okay, let's walk around. All right, so I've done about a half lap, and it is definitely a majority of Pokemon and all the TCG stuff. But same thing, you guys, as last time. Just the crowd, the average age, so much younger. Just lots of younger people everywhere. You know, not all kids, but lots of teenagers, 20-somes. And you got some older people too. But a lot of youth everywhere. And not a ton of sports cards yet, but literally I just got started. Maybe 10 minutes. So, all right, but my first reaction is par for the course, just like last time. But we've got a lot to look at here, so we're gonna keep going. All right. All right, they're also taking PSA submissions here. There's a big dealer that's doing it, and pretty big line. People submitting their cards. So, wonder if you can submit comics here too. Anyway, just thought that was kind of a cool thing they have here. You can get your cards graded, drop them off.
That's one of the big ones. 70 on top, 85%.
All right, interesting booth here. This guy has music cards. Lots of graded and raw stuff. But a lot of people looking at music cards. It looks like he may have a YouTube channel as well. I'll have to check it out. But popular booth here. So I'm going to look through some stuff and see if we can find some Kiss cards. Let's go. Oh yeah. All right, guys, I was wrong on the layout in terms of sports cards. The layout of this place, like all the tables on the interior are almost all sports card vendors. So there's a lot here. A lot more than the last show. No problem. And again, packed. Most of these booths have a lot of people looking at cards, doing deals. So that's cool. Good. So the whole outside booths are Pokemon, TCG, and like the inner, like everything on the inside, pretty much sports cards. All right, keep going here.
I didn't bring anything great here. No, I have a ton of vintage football. It just doesn't move at these
Yeah, surprisingly.
But I have a but someone's gonna pick this up tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You get the right
1935.
1894.
Wait, what? Unbelievable.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's taller than me now.
Really cool. Well, just some random Gretzky rookies here.
Oh, this show got busy.
The GOAT. All right.
25.
Lots of people, kids, walking around with these little briefcases. You can see they've got their card collections in them, and they're bringing them up to booths, showing dealers what they got, and looking to do some trades, sell, buy, and I guess it's a lot easier to do that with, 100 cards or 200 cards than trying to lug around comic books. So that's another difference that I see, another advantage. Anyway, here's a huge booth here. Lots of sports stuff. Wow. Lots of vintage. Oh. Let's see some comic stuff. All right, 1966 Batman. Looks like it is the only comic-related thing he has. All right, but we'll ask, see if he has more. All right, guys. I just want to show you kids lined up at these tables with their little briefcases. This happens to be a sports card table, but they are all lined up trying to make deals on sports cards. It's fun to watch and see the excitement. So, very cool. Hey, good, how are you?
Thank you very much.
All right, first sign of some Marvel cards.
What's that?
Said first sign of Marvel cards anywhere. Right here. Some nice ones. All right, found some more Marvel. Not a ton. Let's do it. We might have some else outside. Ghost Rider rookie. Alright, no, it's kind of blurry. Alright, let's see what we can do. Yeah, I should have taken a video of this earlier, but they have these tables set up way in the back of the show. And of course people can get food and sit down and eat, but most people are just like sitting down and ripping packs or trading cards. It's just something you don't see at comic shows and Comic Cons in terms of what people do with comics. So just another difference that I've noticed. All right, guys. We're leaving the card show. There's about an hour left in the show. And it's still complete madness in here. We'll talk about it as we go. Holy smokes. The snow is coming down. All right. Snowing heavily here. All right, let's get in the car and go home, and then we'll talk. All right, we are back, and there you have it. We went to a comic book show, we went to a trading card show, and clearly you saw a big difference. So let me get something out right at the beginning here. I don't want people to think that I'm doing this video to bash comic books or because I hate comic books or comic book shows. You guys know that is the complete opposite. I want comic books, the hobby, and shows to be very successful. And the purpose of this whole thing is to find out why we aren't getting the youth involved. Okay? So this is not a hating video whatsoever, but it is a follow-up, right, from what I did a couple weeks ago, because a lot of people were saying, no, you went just before Christmas. It was the only show happening. So yeah, everybody was out. They were looking for Christmas gifts. Everyone's excited. Maybe they're off of work for the rest of the year and they're going to a show. Okay, so let's go to a monthly show. By the way, both these shows are essentially monthly. One comic book show, one card show. You saw what was at the comic book show. I did not videotape there very long because, well, two reasons. First of all, I've done videos on that show many, many times, right? 4 or 5 times. I love the show. I love the vendors there. I always get great books. I did not buy anything from that show, but I did buy some stuff at the card show, and I'm going to show you right at the end. I've got them sitting right over here. And then secondly, because I know so many of the people that go to these shows and so many of the vendors, I got caught up talking like I normally do, getting caught up with people. So I lost track of time. I think I only showcased one wall. And it was a good wall. It was a vendor that was, I believe, there for the first time. And he had a lot of really good books. So I did that one wall, did a lap around the room to show everyone what it looked like. And you got a feel, right? A lot of middle-aged guys, hardly any kids, hardly any women. Yeah, I'm okay with that because, I love going to the shows, and if a show is completely packed, I'll probably complain about it, right? But the bottom line is we do need that for the hobby. We just have to figure out how to get there. So let's move over to the second show. We went to the card show. It was like a 40-minute drive, and it was called the Detroit Card Show. And yes, this is a monthly show. I had no idea how big it was going to be. So I'm sure people are going to say, well, you can't compare the two because that is such a bigger show than this one. Okay, I get it. And I thought the same thing, but they're both monthly shows. And the card show draws so many more people. So many more. You saw it. It was packed. And it was only, I think, a $5, $4 or $5 cover charge. It was really cheap. Didn't have to pay to park. And there were, 200 tables or something like that? It was crazy. And it was a big mix of both like the non-sports card stuff, like Pokemon, One Piece, and whatever other TCG games you can think of, and sports cards, right? It was a really big mix. It was maybe a little heavier on TCG stuff than sports, but my goodness, did you see all the kids there hanging out at the tables with their little briefcases, buying cards, selling cards, doing trades? There was a lot of excitement, and it's just really good-natured, right? Not that comic shows aren't necessarily, but I'm telling you, you look at comments from some of my other videos where I talk about this issue we're having in our hobby, and there are people that think comic book shows are stuffy. And a lot of the vendors, not all of them, there are some great vendors, right? But a lot of vendors are just like grumpy old men. And that is true to some degree, right? I still get along with those guys, right? You just got to talk to them and get to know them, right? And understand where they're coming from, right? But still, I love the comic book vendors at all the shows I go to. But yeah, it's, they're sometimes harder to talk to. But you go to the card shows and these vendors are all very approachable, very nice, right? Just in their own way, it's different. And I think it's easier for younger people. I don't just mean kids that are like 8, 10, 12 years old, but I mean like the older teenagers, 20-year-olds, right? It's easier for them to go and talk to vendors like this because maybe the vendors are a little younger as well, and that makes them more approachable. And the hobby is just younger. And why is that? Well, first of all, I've said it before, kids don't like reading, right? And comic books, right? Unless you're just in it for the art, the cover art and stuff, which some are, right? I am as well. I love cover art. I'm not a big reader these days, but I was as a kid. But in terms of kids, they like ripping packs of cards. And I heard the other argument as well, where, well, comic books are expensive. They're $4 or $5 a comic. So are packs of cards. Brand new packs of cards are $4 or $5 a piece as well, just like comic books for the most part. But kids like ripping open packs of cards because they don't know what they're going to get, right? You get 4, 5, 8, 10 cards in there, and you don't know what you're going to get, whether it's sports or non-sports. And that is exciting, which is why, even though I'm not a big fan of blind bags for comics, that is helping draw in some younger people. Even myself, I like, I don't like the everyday type of blind bag that we're seeing, but I like the Mark Spears stuff because it's horror related. The Battle Beasts seem to be big, but you've got to do blind bags the right way and make it worth people's time, right? Have a whole bunch of different stuff you can get and some big hits, right? And for instance, with the Mark Spears blind bags, people are getting big hits on those. Whereas on some of the other blind bags, and there's some other videos out there, I think Swaggle House, shout out to him, did a video on how almost nobody gets big hits on these blind bags unless you happen to be a really big influencer, right? He was kind of making that tie. It was a cool video. Go watch it. He doesn't need free advertisement because he's a big channel, but his videos are good. So go check that one out. It's pretty interesting. But anyway, my point is blind bags may help a little bit, but there's got to be more than that, right? The kids at some point in time are going to have to get interested in reading again. And, I think that's going to be generational. Right now, it's not happening. So even though I'm going to get comments saying, oh, I go to these comic book shows and, right, there are tons of kids and, well, that's great. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, Comic Cons maybe. If you go to a Comic Con like Motor City or C2E2, yeah, lots of younger people there, but they're not there for the comic books. They are not there for the comic books. When you go to the biggest card show, the National, yeah, tons of kids and younger people, and they're there for the cards because the National is like 90% cards. Big Comic Cons now are like 20% comics and 80% everything else. So that being said, it'd be nice to get more comic shows that are more comic centric. And I know there are places here and there that do a little bit of that. And there are more Comic Cons that are more comic focused than others. But anyway, I don't have all the solutions. I just wanted to do another comparison on the same day, a monthly show of comics and a monthly show of cards, and just show the comparison. So I'm interested in your feedback as always. But before we get to that, I'm going to show you what I got. So I got some cards, and you may have seen them in the video, okay? So all three of them are from the 1990 Marvel Universe trading card set. So that was like the first year with Marvel's resurgence into trading cards, right? They had some in the 70s, but they were more like stickers. And then back in the 60s, the original Donruss sets as well. But the first one I got was Colossus, and all three of these are Gem Mint PSA 10. So Colossus, his first appearance in 1990. And then I got Ghost Rider, his rookie card as well. Again, PSA 10. And last but not least, you saw it in the video, Doctor Doom, PSA Gem Mint 10. Great card, especially with all the excitement around Doctor Doom coming. So I picked up these three. This one he had at 150, the Colossus at 100, and the Ghost Rider at 80. So that was what, 280, $330, and I think I ended up paying $250 for these. So he came down a little bit. Maybe a little more than a little bit. He was very reasonable, I would say, but I wasn't really looking at the prices to understand, right, if these were good buys or not. I don't have a whole lot of cards, but I am picking up Gem Mint 10s of the 1990 series whenever I can. All right. And they made a ton of these, right? They made a ton, I think like 350,000 boxes or something like that. I know it was over 300,000 boxes. So these are out there. But that's it. Happy to have those. And hey, I'm going to keep going to comic book shows. You know it, a lot more than card shows. But I'm going to do a little bit more comparisons here to just try and understand better, how do we get kids involved? So looking forward to your feedback. Do you have any ideas on how we can do this? Kids don't want to read. How do we get them involved? Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed it. And looking forward to more content here. Got a lot of shows to go to and a lot of videos coming up. Until next time, have a great day.